I'd like to start with a word of prayer. Ms. Judy, if you'd handle that, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together as a board. I pray that you be with us and help us to make the right decisions and wise decisions. Thank you for allowing all of us to serve on the board and to serve our community and our school district. Thank you for the many blessings you give us. I shall honor us in the precious name of Jesus.
Amen.
If you remain standing, I'd like to say the pledge, please. Sorry about that. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
About saluting.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to try to keep this as short as possible and try to get through. We have one item of business, and that item is that we're going to have a discussion on the events that have happened in the past couple of weeks. And so basically I'm going to give you a recap, and then I'm going to turn it over to Julie, and we'll kind of get started there. There was some, I don't know how far back we want to go. The board has all had the emails, and we got started and what has happened. So I was contacted, and I better read this, because if I don't, I'm going to screw it up. So I was contacted by by Dr. Mitchell, who had been contacted by Jeff Patterson, and that is where this started, and it was started at the CTA level. That is not on that page, although the information was right. I may have to wing it. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what I did with my page. I had it all written out real nicely, but anyway, let's see what we can do. We're going to start off, and I was contacted by Dr. Mitchell, who had been contacted by Jeff Patterson, who was contacted by the CTA president.
No.
CTA treasurer.
Treasurer.
Okay, treasurer. And so that is where this ball got started rolling. And I then contacted the MSBA lawyer, Kelly Hopkins, and she is out of Jefferson City. She gave us some recommendations. Those recommendations were that we needed to address the issue and ask for Julie's resignation because it was a matter of an ethics violation. Now, I did talk to her, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but that is what happened. So now moving on, once that happened, then we did some more investigation, and we got to the point to where we thought maybe this is not what it was supposed to be or what it was thought to be. And like I said, I apologize. I should have written this down. Should have brought my paper, but I didn't. So at this point, Julie is now considering what to do. So, and I've left out. Eric, thank you for being here.
Sorry I'm late.
Not a problem.
He just wanted a time frame.
I was just going over the same thing that was in the emails about what had happened when, kind of when we started and all that. So what I would like to do today, Eric, did you get your last emails?
Sure did.
Okay. So basically our discussion is an open discussion about what has happened and Julie's response to this, and then we'll talk about questions after that. Okay.
All right. Okay, I have I'm going to make it quick. I have 4 points that I would like to discuss. First of all, I'd like to discuss how I got the debit card. I would like to discuss what I was told at the meeting on April the 27th. I would also like to discuss why I withdrew my resignation at that time, and then I have a few questions that I would like to ask also. Okay, I'll give you some back. You'll take one of these and pass it down. I know you've seen some of this before, but I want to provide evidence as to what I am referring to. 1, 2, and it's got a front and a back on it. Anyway, 3 years ago, I was the CTA treasurer for East Newton School District, and at that time, I had a debit card. Well, when I quit working for East Newton, as you can see right here, this is the bank statement. On August the 6th, 2015, I went and signed my name off of that bank account. Gave him the debit card. That was the end of it as far as I knew. When I had pulled up my accounts previous to this, it would be on there. It would have the CTA account and my bank accounts on there also. Once I took my name off that account, I never heard anything else about it again. Okay, well, fast forward to almost 3 years later, in November of 2017, I received this card in the mail. As you see, it says Julie N. George, or McGill, sorry, forgot my name. And it is from CBT. Sorry, Barry. And that's the only bank I bank with is CBT. So I received this card. I assumed it belongs to Julie in McGill. But I have 2 accounts, as you will see on the back. I also have 2 accounts at CBT, so I wasn't quite sure which one it was for. And I thought, well, how am I supposed to know what account this is for? Because when you receive the debit cards in the mail, they don't give you any account information. That is supposedly for your that is for your protection. Well, this account right here, I hardly use. It's actually, I call it my child support account because child support money goes into it. But this is my main account, so all I do is suck money, and when it comes in here, I suck it out to the other one. So I don't really use it, but this card expires in 2018. So I assumed that this card here was a replacement for that one. Granted, it was kind of early, but as you see, this card has a chip. So I thought, well, maybe they were replacing them all with chips. However, I don't really use that account very often, so this was November. And if I had thought it was this one, it would have been used in November, but I did not. I thought it was the other account. So anyway, fast forward a little bit, and I end up having to have a root canal from an abscessed tooth. And when I go to pay for it, I pay with this debit card right here. Obviously, and I signed Julie McGill on it because it's my card. Well, I watched the bank account I also provided this because this is the child support bank account statement. And as you can see, I kept like $600, we sucked every other dollar out of that account, but $600 and some stayed at all times because it was there to cover my root canal. And that I didn't pay much attention. Now on payday, I was in Chicago and I checked to see if I got my paycheck for this account, and I saw the $600 was still there. And I did remark to the people around me, and I have a statement from them if you would like to see it, that, well, that's weird. Why has that money not been taken out of my account? So anyway, all right. I was in Chicago. I came home. A few days later, I get a call from Robin to meet him up here at the central office. Anyway, but before I go any further, do I have any questions from anybody about how I received the card that didn't belong to me? No? Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so then I come up here and I thought, well, maybe there was some kind of school issue. I couldn't, it was a Friday night. And he's the only one here, except Dr. Mitchell's car is here. And I thought, well, the rest of them were busy. They couldn't make it. Well, and then Judy comes. And so anyway, so we come in, and he asked me if I'd been using the CTA debit card. And I was like, well, no, I haven't had that in 3 years. There's a bank statement I can get that shows I signed off of that account. And he said, well, it has your name on it. And has my name on it? What? Well, then he sets it down, and it's my root canal. And I thought, oh my gosh, you gotta be, well, actually, I about collapsed, and I said, you gotta be kidding me. Now I know why I didn't clear the bank. So I say, I'll go get a check, I'll write a check, I write the check, and he proceeds to tell me that it doesn't matter if it's an accident, that the school attorney said that it didn't matter if it was an accident, it was still an ethical violation. And it would also make the school look bad, and we didn't need any more negativity shown on the school at this time. And my typed up resignation letter was sitting right there. And of course, I was like, I didn't know what to do. I don't want any more, I don't want to be responsible for any more negative light on the district. However, I cannot see how I was in my mind. I'm going, what do you mean? This is an ethical violation. But anyway, so I ended up signing the card. Or signing the resignation letter, and I left. Okay. All right, so then, is there any questions about what happened at the meeting? Because I know people had asked questions about that. Okay, so I go home and I start thinking about this, I start talking to people about it, and I start thinking, well, hang on. How is this an ethical violation? There was no intent on, if I had known that was a CTA card, well, I would never pay for my root canal with it. So I ended up, I talked to some more people, and I had some information given to me that, first of all, school board superintendent shouldn't have been involved in CTA. It should have only been CTA. I also tried to call the CTA treasurer, not on a business level, but because I know her, just because I immediately wanted to explain what happened, but she won't take my calls. I later learned from our representative that she was told not to take my calls, which I have a question about that also. So I contacted the CTA president, who did not know anything about the whole event at the time, and she learned about it from me. Well, that was another question that I had. So I decided that I was going to investigate further. So we were off Monday. I went to see the prosecuting attorney to see if this would be an issue. I was told, you know, from basically just a little bit that no, it wouldn't be an issue. I went to see an attorney who is also a school board member in the OSHO, and he said, do not quit. That is, no, you have no reason to quit whatsoever. And then I withdrew my resignation. When it all happened, I actually thought the board knew at first because Robin had mentioned something about Eric coming, and of course Judy was there, so I just assumed everybody knew. The further this went on, I got the impression they didn't, so I didn't want to give you my withdrawal of resignation with no explanation. Plus, I wanted you to hear the story from my side of the view, so that's why you got the big email explaining it, and along with my withdrawal of the resignation. Then let's see. As time, I had a question about why did I contact MSTA. Well, I too must have received that. I have it over there. I have information from MSBA. Was told, I have an email from them saying they could not help me because it was conflict of interest. You need to contact MSTA. So I did. However, they got involved in representation of CTA because it should have been a CTA issue, not. I mean, it benefited me because I wish that CTA would have handled it and it would have been over with, but they weren't necessarily representing me, if that makes sense to you. Okay, let's see, then what really, another confusion I had then after being told over and over again that it didn't matter if it was an accident, I then received an email that said that MSBA said that it was an accident and therefore it wasn't an ethical violation after receiving more information. So my biggest question is, why wasn't I asked in order that more information had been received from the beginning, before we called the prosecuting attorney's office, before we called MSBA, before a typed up resignation letter was given to you to have me sign? I have lots of questions about that. I know that I'm loud. I know that I speak up. I know that y'all don't always agree with what I say. But I still, those things in consideration make me feel like this is some kind of a vindictive act, because we have a lot of issues at East Newton right now. We have teachers leaving in groves. We have emails coming in and messages coming in.
Nothing to do
Yeah,
with
let's
it.
Okay,
not-
well, okay, but nothing has ever given the attention that this has been
But
given.
we gotta
Amen.
get back to work.
Okay,
I agree.
I mean, that nothing is, I mean, I have not received an email from you in 2 years I've been here, but you sent a 2-page
You
email.
need to tell them they can't
Okay,
speak, or they
guys,
have to leave.
guys, listen, we're here to discuss
Okay.
this.
Well, that
So
is
you
all
can
I
listen
have to say.
respectfully, please.
But I have a question as to why so much attention was paid to this.
Okay.
I would
Well,
like
if
to
you-
speak
I
to
can-
the fact
I
that
can-
MSBA was contacted, because that's our first, if there's ever a question about anything to do with the board, MSBA is my first call.
Right,
And it
Right.
wasn't my first call. If it's not my first call, it's his first
Right.
call. That's as far as we went with it.
right.
So,
And I was going on the recommendations that we
Yeah,
received from
exactly.
Kelly Hopkins.
And I know
And
you were,
so that was,
but obviously she didn't have the information, so why wasn't I contacted?
I'll say it for you, when Robin and I did discuss this
Mhm.
just a couple of days ago, and we both agreed we won't be trusting again of
No.
other people giving us information.
and
so
I will,
I'm very sorry for this happening.
you know, I don't like the way it turned out. I apologize for not keeping you guys involved and informed, but I will do much better at that. I think I've turned over a lot of the stuff that we've gotten, tried to keep you informed of that. And so, you know, that's where we are.
I just,
Okay, questions? Only board members, please.
Well, she's the CTA president. I mean, she's pretty much
Okay,
involved.
okay, that I understand, but again, we're just here to discuss this. Okay, anybody,
That's why
any
we're
board members got any
frustrated.
questions?
Well, I will tell you that I was never accusatory in that email.
Right.
Only saying
Right.
that
And
we need
I
to do our
had-
proper things.
and I
that
agree
things were
that we
not-
needed to-
and I'm speaking,
mhm, okay, go ahead.
that we were not handling things appropriately from the beginning. And it's nobody's fault, everybody's doing what they should have been doing appropriately. Am I correct?
Yes,
Did not everybody contact who they thought they should contact?
I'm sure they did,
They did.
except I don't
Not
understand
you.
why I wasn't contacted.
I'm not in disagreement with that, but
I mean,
at the same time, you
Or
know,
the
nobody
secretary.
knew how to handle the situation either, including the
no one contacted
secretary,
CTA?
including MSBA,
Nobody
or
told me
anybody
that.
for that matter. And so,
Not
I think
the press.
everybody probably handled it as appropriately as possible, but So don't think I was not accused
Right.
for it. And
Right.
because I don't send emails, doesn't mean I don't read them, or doesn't mean I don't care about things.
Oh,
Right, fair
and
enough?
I know you say that, I just also know that I've never received one from you before.
I don't need a reply with most of them. I mean, I don't need a
But-
reply. Everybody replies.
This
I
isn't
watch
what,
them.
this isn't
Okay.
what this
No.
means.
No,
No,
that's not,
no,
it's
that's
not,
not-
okay, all right, anyway.
Okay, Eric?
Yeah, the only problem I have is that I've been getting phone calls from everybody else telling me that you told them all about this.
I was,
That's-
yes.
Okay, that's the problem I have, that you are out telling the public.
Okay, well, I ran on transparency and I
I
don't
know,
have anything to
you-
hide.
I'm.
Plus, I thought I was quitting. And I was asked if I wanted it to be personal reasons, and no, I do not want it to be personal reasons, because I don't hide, I'm not gonna hide what happened.
I'm not saying that, Julie.
Okay.
I'm saying that it makes the board look dysfunctional or bad when we hear about it from the public, instead of from you.
Which
Well,
Robin takes blame for that, for not
Yes.
allowing for any of us to know, because none of us knew anything
Right.
until we received an
From me,
email
so
from
I
you.
told you.
So, you know, in transparency, how do you think we all felt when we got that?
Right.
But that wouldn't be Julie.
That's
That's
all.
not
So-
That's
No.
not his.
Yeah.
But I never said it, I never
Yeah, I
said
know,
it, Julie.
I know.
I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
you know, everyone has this little blame thing that everyone
Right.
wants to do. But the reason we're here is because of this.
Yes.
Right, and do
Okay,
you have any
so
questions
here we
about
are.
how that transpired? I mean, does it all make sense now? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I spoke to the bank. I don't know
Well,
why.
but I don't know, why does it even matter to us? It's not our issue.
That
So
was,
I
that was
would
my
not-
main question.
So, okay.
That was what I wanted to open with,
But I don't
but,
even, I don't see
Yeah.
a need for anything this at all.
I
mean,
agree
I'm just gonna-
completely.
To be here
Mhm.
for this,
Thank
right
you.
here.
I
No-
agree.
Well, no, I'm not doing, I'm just,
I know,
I'm
I
making,
agree.
let me talk for a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
We all know
This
Julie.
wasn't my idea.
But, you know, the only thing that's gonna come from this is negativity
Mhm.
and blame and all that. So I feel like this isn't, you know, if there's something that needs to be handled over different issues or other things that come, then that needs to be handled everywhere else, because this isn't what all these different things are
That's,
about.
I agree with you.
Okay.
And that's fine, yeah. I agree.
I think this, since this has your information.
Yeah,
we
please
all
give
need
it
to-
back,
We need
yeah.
to return those to you.
Yes. Not
Okay.
not that you would get far on it, but
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just, when was this Dennis appointment?
it was April the
Yeah.
12th or 10th, it was like a week and a half after Easter.
So you had this card since November and never used it
No.
until April?
Mhm. Because it's the child board, and I don't really, yeah, the ex-husband's name was on it, so,
When-
yeah.
I had a question, when you had the card, back when you were the treasurer,
Mhm.
was it a practice that you could use it for personal use?
Oh,
and then pay it
no,
back?
no, and actually, there's times, like, one time I actually gave the CTA, I paid on my card for our dinner, and so I, like, had to reimburse that money, and there was times when I actually used it for, and I had to reimburse that money, so I went down to CPT before I quit, and had it made red, white, and blue with East Newton Patriots on it, so that that mistake wouldn't be made anymore, because it's so easy to do, so, yeah. But no, we would give it, like, we had to keep receipts. I did the taxes, and we had a past treasurer at the time that didn't keep good receipts. So if you had a debit card, you had all the transactions from when it came time for receipts, and so you could give it to people for their gas, to get gas when we did gas things, or they needed money for lodging, or that kind of thing.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I think for the public information is that we need to look at this, whether public or closed session, was that we need to present that we were doing due diligence in finding the people that were handling it through the channels that need to be handled. Whether it was through us or not through us, you know, again, we made some mistakes, but on the other side, we're having this meeting not because of trying to witch hunt or anything else. It's about showing the public that we are trying to handle things as appropriately as possible. You know, that we didn't just sweep it under the carpet or ignore it or, fair enough.
It's-
That's, I mean, if we didn't, then that's what we're gonna get accused
Right.
of. Oh, was that, you know.
But if it would
racist.
have been a CTA issue, it would have never come to this.
But
It
even
was-
you didn't know it was just a CTA issue at the
Right.
time.
Not at first,
So,
no.
yeah, so I
Exactly.
mean,
But
it's all,
I immediately called CTA, and then I couldn't get
but
hold of it.
that's where we're at. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's where it originated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did say at the time, immediately, I said, why didn't CTA call me? I said it over and over and over again.
Well, exactly, I mean, it's a good point, they should have probably handled it themselves, but.
Yeah.
But I also don't feel like anyone should be disrespectful to us as individuals when we ask questions or we send emails.
Correct.
That we shouldn't get responses and stuff that are disrespectful.
Yes. I agree with that. Okay,
Alright.
is there any other actions that need to be taken? Does the board wish to do anything at this time? Seeing none, I am open to, the floor is open for any other motions, adjournment or other. I have one other thing before we quit, and that would be, does anybody have anything they want to put on the agenda for next Thursday?
But we still have time to put stuff
Right.
too, but
We
you're
got a
just saying
week,
right now.
Just let me know and we'll go from there, okay? Seeing no other business, meeting adjourned.
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
You go tell them.
Meeting adjourned.
Tell them.
Board members,